Going live.
Wow.
Says it's setting it up. I'm just going to check on my phone.
You're right.
It says it's connecting, so okay. Okay, I think we are live. I'm not sure. I think we are live. Hang on.
It says live on Facebook.
Cool.
Now.
Okay.
Meeting is now streaming.
Awesome. There's a delay on Facebook, but that's okay. All right. Well, hi, everyone that's tuning in and watching. There's a delay over on Facebook, so I'm not sure what's happening. This is the first time I have done a live stream from Zoom to Facebook. So welcome, everyone. Thanks for jumping on as you come on and join us. I just wanted to come on today and interview my beautiful client, Shelley, who I've been working with now for 8 weeks, I think it is.
8 weeks.
I guess when I met Shelley, she was wanting to build an online business, wanting to build an online coaching business, but had no idea where to start. And so we've worked together to clear some blocks, release some limitations, get rid of some resistance. And now she's just signed her first client, which I'm so excited about.
Yes.
So excited. So Shelley, thank you so much for joining us. I just thought it would be an awesome chance to share your experience here today. So perhaps you could just share a little bit about yourself and where you were at, or just tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, of course, no problems at all. So I'm recently married for the second time this year, just got in before COVID, and I am a mother of 7, but 6 are living at home. So 7's
insane.
Yeah, it is insane. I have 3 girls and my husband has 4 kids. So it has definitely been a little bit of a whirlwind the last 4 years. It took me a little while to get my life together. And it wasn't until I was 30 that I ended up going to uni. And I did a Bachelor of Social Work. And I started off in psychology and I transferred to social work. And when I finished, I graduated and I stepped straight into private practice. So I started my business straight away into private practice and I joined another colleague of mine. And I worked predominantly with children and adolescents with trauma and neurodevelopmental disorders. And then occasionally I would work with women, whether it be on the basis of domestic violence, trauma, or I started to work with women that were female entrepreneurs or women that were in business that were pretty much just needing to up their game. They'd reached their ceiling in certain capacities and didn't know how to move on from that point. And I sort of just got to a place where I thought, I think I want to actually expand my business and become a service-based online business. But I had absolutely no idea where to go, how to start. I knew what I wanted and I had all the skills, but I had no idea what was necessary for me to tap into in regards to starting it.
Yeah.
So then I had been sort of stalking you a little bit on Facebook.
Awesome.
As people do.
Silent stalkers on Facebook. That's actually, this is a really good point actually for anyone who's got a, an online, any sort of online business or any business you're promoting through social media. There are a lot of people that follow you and watch you and never like or never interact, never comment, but they're still watching. So it's really powerful just to know there are stalkers out there.
Oh, absolutely.
In a good way.
Yeah, in a really good way. And I think it's been 8 weeks, and I think it was probably maybe 10 weeks ago that I contacted you. And I think I can't remember if it was a post or...
Yeah, it was. You commented on a post.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was something about what you said, and it was in no relation to my business, like something that I wanted to create it. But it was the energy behind what you had said, and I just had this compelling nature or compelling act of wanting to contact you. And I think then you contacted me and we just sort of went from there.
And so, you know, you wanted to get into the online space, so and start your own coaching business, right? To get away from private practice. So what were your, I guess, struggles or challenges, you know, before we started working together around doing that?
Well, the funny thing is, it wasn't until I started talking to you that I think I started to recognize I did have challenges. And I think one of the questions I said to you was, normal? And you said to me, yeah, that's, oh, sorry, can you get me? Have you got me, Dylan?
Yeah, say that again.
I just remember saying something to you at the beginning that, was that normal? Was that normal for me to sort of think that I'm ready and then start talking to someone and then realizing that actually there's probably a few little things that I need to take care of before I can step forward? And I think it was you. You said that that having someone to sort of bounce off, having someone that can call out your BS or call out the things that you need to work through is thoroughly important. And I knew that from the basis of supervision in private practice.
Yeah.
But I just didn't realize, I didn't acknowledge the space under these circumstances. So it was really good for me to step out and go, okay, you know what, I think there's a fair few things there that I need to work through. And I needed someone to have the expertise for me to work through that. From a business point of view, but also from a personal point of view. Yeah.
So, I mean, are you happy sort of sharing some of the, you know, challenges or blocks that you felt you had, like some of the things?
Absolutely. Yeah. So probably from a personal point of view, you know, I do have a trauma history, and I think that over time, you know, you sort of feel like you get through those things. You know, I've had therapy around those things, but I think one of the issues that was still apparent for me was worthiness and trusting myself and believing that I have everything within me and that I do have the power to make the decisions and I do have the power to control how much my external environment affects me.
Yeah.
And I think that sense of worthiness was huge.
Yeah.
And the timeline therapy and the tapping was just, amazing breakthrough.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, most women I work with, most, not all, but most of them have worthiness issues, or just not, but, you know, because whenever, and I've talked about it a lot of times before, whenever we're looking outside of ourselves for that validation, whenever we're looking to others to make us feel okay about ourselves, or, you know, a lot of people just, we're always going to be, it's going to be a constant search. If you're relying on someone else to validate your worth, you'll always be seeking that validation outside of you, and it's got to come within. You know, you've got to know that you're enough, so you radiate that and people are attracted to that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think one of the hard things is always when you step, like, you know, whatever you're doing, whatever career or, you know, whatever you're in, and, you know, I had a successful career too, and when you're doing that same job over and over, you've built up skills and you've built up a certain confidence, but when you step into something that's new, and being an entrepreneur is new for a lot of people, right? There's a lot of challenges that come up.
Absolutely. And it's not until you're faced with those that you actually start to see some things come up from the surface. I guess it's just the pressure. I mean, you don't get a diamond unless you get that pressure. So I feel like it's the same thing, you know, the pressure coming on, the challenge, the stepping out. And I did have to step out on some huge things. So when I mentioned to you before about stalking you on Facebook, it might not be the level as most people do. I mean, my contact with Facebook was bare minimum. Like, I was scared of Facebook.
Yeah.
And that was from something previously that had happened, and it'd been 10 years since. I mean, I never posted. I might have said, oh, yep, hey, beautiful, or, you know, something really simple with just my friends. But aside from that, I had no contact with Facebook.
Yeah.
So I think that, like, that one thing in itself, I mean, that was like 5 weeks of really battling out this challenge of making myself vulnerable, stepping out, putting myself forward, and trusting that process.
Yeah.
And I don't think I realized how strong that was until you really called me out on that.
Yeah. And that was one of the big blocks we cleared, right? Is that,
Absolutely.
you know, you had a belief that sort of, for lack of a better word, Facebook was evil. Social
Yeah,
media
it
was
true. Yeah. Yeah.
and this is something that I talk about all the time. Those beliefs, any belief that is in contradiction to what you're wanting to do, and obviously if you want to build an online business, you've got to embrace social media, right? So any resistance, any conflicting energy around that will block you. Because for a few weeks we were talking about, okay, we got clear on your niche, got clear on your offer, all that stuff you wanted to do, and then and that changed a few times, right? But when we talked about, okay, you know, are you going to get out there, you're going to start doing some posts on social media, you know, these blocks came up, this resistance came up.
Absolutely.
It was powerful to clear that.
It was powerful because I actually didn't realize how strong the resistance was until I had to do it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh my gosh. And it did. It took me a couple of weeks. Like, it took everything in me. I was actually quite scared, which is probably, you know,
But once we cleared that belief, once we rewired that, you...
Oh, not a problem after that. Now you can't stop me. I'm doing post after post.
So maybe can you share, I guess, like what were some of the shifts and breakthroughs that you had during our time together?
Okay, so I think, like, it wasn't just around Facebook. One of the shifts was also around my belief with money as well, and what I deserve, and my belief in feeling like, you know, I've got these, you know, like, I feel like I'm a talented woman. I have this amazing skill set, but I still had this mindset of settling with money.
Yeah.
And so that was one of my biggest huge blocks, was the money as well.
And about how hard you have to work to get it, right?
Absolutely.
I remember having a conversation with Shelley. So during our time together, she spent about 2 weeks being really sick, right? Really ill.
Yeah, I was,
and, you know, you were still showing up and going to work, and you were exhausted. And, you know, that's when we really uncovered, like, she was like, oh, I still feel like I've got to work. I feel like I've got to show up. And we really tapped into what your beliefs were around money. And the belief was, you've got to work really hard. And that if you weren't working hard, you felt
I was lazy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And so no matter what, you just felt like you were only deserving if you showed up and you put in like so many hours.
Absolutely, yeah. And when I met you, I probably was on the verge of burnout.
Yeah.
I was completely fatigued and burnt out. And yet I had, like, I was pregnant with this vision that I really wanted to give birth to. But at the same time, I was definitely...
So what's your belief around money now?
I think you would challenge me on that. Oh gosh. Oh wow. My belief around money now is that I don't have to work hard for it. That I know that what's done is done. It is already for me. I know that I have the capacity to manifest everything that I envision, everything that I dream of.
Yeah.
And that would probably be another area that I would say that I knew a lot about manifestation, but I never knew it in the context of how you taught it. And I think that enabled me to step into that in a bigger and better way.
Yeah.
Bigger and better way. Absolutely. And money now, I think, you know, I recognize that it is, I know it's an illusion, and they talk about it's just something that we have to, well, you know, it doesn't control us. It doesn't rule over us. We don't have to work hard for it. We just have to believe that this is what we want. This is our target, and we can manifest that. And
that we're worthy of receiving it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Massive. It's massive.
It is massive, and you don't have to work for it. And that's the thing. You don't have to push it. You don't have to, you know, like, that's been my biggest thing. It is done. Yeah. I don't know. It's just so much easier.
Yeah.
It really is.
Any other sort of major shifts or breakthroughs that you recognize?
I do remember we did a session on timeline therapy, and that was around rejection. And that was a major shift for me. And the reason why I think we tapped into that one
Fear
was
of rejection.
Yeah, fear of rejection. Sorry, yeah. The reason why I think we started to work through that is because I said to you, my belief was I don't have the capacity to to be magnetic, like people to be magnetic to me. And then we slowly unpacked that, and we realized that there was a fear of rejection there.
Yeah.
And so it took some work through the timeline therapy, but it was instant for me. And I could feel it. I think I ended up in tears to you after that session.
Yeah, it's powerful. The timeline therapy is powerful.
It was very powerful.
And I guess the thing is, just one thing to say about, I guess, people's fears and belief, like major limiting beliefs. There's fear of rejection, fear of not being loved, fear of failure, fear of success, not being enough. And that about covers them all.
Yeah.
Any other limitation you think you have often comes down to one of those handfuls. So everyone I talk to there's always very, very similar.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was something else we touched as well, the fear of success. And my basis was, I was worried that I would get successful and then people would find out what I'd been up to all my life, and they would know things about me that I was scared about.
Yeah.
You remember? Yeah.
That you'd have to be vulnerable and people might see the skeletons in your closet or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that was pretty powerful.
And, a lot of people don't think of a fear of success because people are like, no, I definitely want the money. But the thing with being successful is that when you really think about what it's going to take, it depends what success means to people. But, if you want to be having 20, 30, 40, 50, 100K months, for example, if you want lots of money, lots of success, all of that stuff, which is available to everyone, right?
Absolutely.
You're going to have to be visible, right? You don't get to create that without you don't get to create that without being visible, which means you are going to have to show up more. You're going to have to be open and be talking about yourself. You're going to you have to show up as a leader, and that scares a lot of people. That comes down to that fear of rejection. So some people are like, I want to earn the 10K or 20K, but if you've got a fear of rejection and a fear of what people think, that will stop you. And that's why when we talk about resistance, it's all those blocks, right? That will stop you showing up if you have a fear of what other people think and a fear of being rejected.
Absolutely. And it had. Yeah. Honestly, I think that I had been thinking about doing this for 18 months.
Yeah.
And it took me until I had my time with you for me to start stepping out.
Yeah.
And just feeling your support. Like, I know I live in Orange and you're in Sydney, but just feeling your support, I think, was really crucial for me. I know I could message you at any time.
Yeah.
But it was just, it's the paper, it's sort of the notes or the homework that you get me to work on. It's the vibrational alignment meditation. Recording that I get to listen to, and also the lives that you did. So I wasn't, the training, so I wasn't able to be present for any of them, unfortunately, because I was working, but I always had access to them after. So I think it just feels like you're on board with me all the time, and that's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
And you would check in. You always check in.
I know, often you don't respond. I'm like, Shelley, what's going on?
No, I'm sorry. Just always busy. It's terrible.
That's fine. So I guess what were there any kind of really big ahas that you had during our time?
I would probably say my biggest. Okay, so first my biggest aha was my niche. Because I had I had no idea on how to write a niche. I didn't not necessarily the format, but really narrowing down on my niche market, who's my target client, who are the people I want to work with. And I did find that really difficult. And I think it's just because it's not something I've never done before. And my work, as much as I work, at the moment in face-to-face with children and adolescents, also adults, it's still quite broad. Whereas I really had to knuckle in on my specific niche. And I think when you finally sort of unpacked that for me.
Yeah.
I went, okay, this all makes sense, and this is where I need to go. And once I did that, I also realized too that I don't need to tap into anything else. This is what I want. Don't mess around with anything other than that. Yeah. And so that was a huge moment for me.
And I think, you know, what I am always focused on with and, you know, what my breakthrough was and what I help clients have that breakthrough with is it's not just about finding a niche, right? Because some people are like, okay, what niche should I pick?
Yeah.
But it's more about really tapping into who you would love to work with, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, who you would love to work with, what you really want to help them with. It's not about finding a niche that you think will be profitable or that you think that there's like real like huge opportunity in. I know a lot of coaches will tell you to do that, to find a niche that's, you know, quite profitable. But my take is everything is energy. So when you're aligned and when you're doing something you love, people are magnetic to that anyway. And if you're being called to do it, then you're being called to do it for a reason. Yeah, and there are people out there that are ready and waiting to pay for your help.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. Absolutely. And I would probably also say that and I guess this is where the vibrational alignment comes in for me. That was a new concept when I come on board with you. And I'm an energy person anyway. I know how I feel when I'm attracted to energy or other people's energy. So I understood that side of it, but getting into vibrational alignment and seeing what comes out when you do that, it was incredible.
Yeah.
A lot of my goals, a lot of my, you know, future aspirations, I don't know, you know, even down to what I wanted to put in for my offer, everything has come out of going through those steps to get into vibrational alignment. Yeah. And even things like journaling, you know, like I tell my clients all day, write it down, tell me your thoughts, you know, but I'd never really done it for myself. Yeah. And I think you said to me, just start journaling. Honestly, you'll love it once you get going. And I'd have to say that's probably one of my aha moments as well.
Yeah. And when I talk about journaling, it's not sort of just like dear diary, this is what
no.
today.
No.
It's very specific. It's unpacking. There are certain journal prompts I give clients depending on where they're up to. And it's about understanding any resistance and blocks and being able to talk to that part of you to alleviate it. And like Shelley was talking about the vibrational alignment. I mean, I think, like I said, I talked about this in my little course last week. Like alignment gets thrown around a lot. And a lot of people feel like they're in alignment if they're doing something they love, right? But they can still be really misaligned with many other parts of making that business a success. So you might love what you do, but you might not feel worthy to receive money, and you might have a big fear of rejection. And those things are that's misalignment. That's misalignment from you creating a successful business. It's one thing to love your business, but there's like so many other parts of you that make up being in total alignment to want to call in what you want to call in, right?
Absolutely.
And it's a process that you need to do every day. Like every day you get into alignment so that you clear your energy, you're feeling inspired, you're feeling connected to your business, and then you get the inspiration of what to do. And it was so interesting working with Shelley, because every week it'd be like, what's happened this week? Because she would just, every week she'd have these major revelations and breakthroughs. And she's like, I woke up at 3 a.m. and I sat down and I wrote for like 3 hours.
I did. That happened heaps,
and you're on the journey, you sort of what you thought your niche or who you wanted to work with, what you want to work with, shifted, and that's totally fine too.
Yeah,
now
it did.
And it's really only been the last 2 weeks that you've locked this in.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then you got a client like an hour after our session the other day.
Absolutely, I did. And actual fact, I didn't tell you, I think I got another one today.
Yeah. Congratulations. Yeah. So and Shelley's really only started talking about your business like in the last week.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, last week, because it's only been the last week and a half that I've trusted the process and stepped out and started sort of launching on Facebook.
Yeah. And how many friends do you have on Facebook?
I think I've got, I don't know.
A few hundred, right? It's not thousands.
Yeah. Oh, no. It would have been, I think it started off around 430. Yeah. And I think I'm now 570.
Okay.
580.
Adding friends like crazy.
I'm adding people. It's more that, like, I think people are just starting to see my post, and I've also connected to some groups that are to do with female entrepreneurs, and since I've done that, then people are adding me as friends, and it's amazing. It's actually really, it's a lot of fun. I like it.
Cool. You're so resistant to it.
I know.
No, the reason I just wanted to ask about how many friends is because a lot of people think that you need to have a big following, right?
Yeah.
And Shelley's literally launched her business a week ago, right? We just actually nutted out on Friday, we're just talking about your introductory offer and pricing, right?
Absolutely.
And now you've got 2 clients. That is amazing.
It is amazing.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you wanted to share about, the program or?
I would probably say, I think what would be really important to mention is, and it's not so much about the program, Susan, it's probably more about you. I think that you were my first coaching experience, and I was really nervous about stepping out. As you can see, I obviously do get a little bit concerned about stepping out, but that is a trust issue I've had, and that's obviously something you and I have worked through. So I wasn't too sure what this was going to be like for me, and I would have to say the person I was compared to the person I am now, it's just crazy how much I have shifted in the 8 weeks. I cannot tell you enough how just how valuable it has been for me, honestly. And I think what's been really sorry, I don't want to get emotional, you know what I'm like. Aside from the fact that I think it's so important to invest in yourself, and I think when you invest in yourself, whether you only go one step, you're still one step further away from where you were and further in front to being a better person and to maximizing your highest true potential. So obviously everyone comes to the table with a different outlook on how much they want to change, how much they want to shift, how much they want to get out of anything. And I came to the table just wanting so much, and I would say that I'm sort of finishing it up, having transformed a whole lot. I really have, and I'm just thoroughly grateful for your support. And it's aside from the fact that you are very professional at what you do, there's just a relaxed way about you that makes you feel like you're really a part of you, and you know what I mean, like you really do. I'm having troubles with my words, but you really do sort of pull the client in, and it's not even about being a coach and a client. You feel like you're a part of your friend, like you're networking with you, you're a friend, and I have found that very supportive. And when you haven't when you haven't known to trust the process from the beginning, it feels really good when you are received with such a reciprocal.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you.
No, that's all right.
Thank you for the beautiful flowers.
These I know, they're gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
No, I'm just so grateful.
Oh, thank you. And I guess this is something I'd like to say is that, I'm so grateful for you, right? This is a thing when you are really feeling aligned and you know who you want to work with, you attract those soul aligned clients, right? Like, I love Shelley. I'm sure we'll remain friends. We just talked about a weekend away last session the other day. And this is the thing, when you're really aligned with your business and who you want to call in, you're magnetic to those people that are like you, that you love, and business is fun, right? It's a joy.
It is. That energy is just so important.
And you know what's so interesting? When Shelley came, so Shelley had commented on a post, we started messaging and we had a call. And she wasn't sure if she wanted to invest in herself, and we're going to have another follow-up call. We had our first call on the Monday. We're going to have another quick follow-up call on the Friday. And Shelley sent me a message on the Thursday. I don't know if you remember this, saying like this big long message saying, I've thought about it. I just can't invest in myself at the moment. I need to think of the kids and And my energy at that, just in particular at that time, I was like so freaking aligned and fired up. And something in me, I can't even explain it, something in me, even when I got that message from you that was a no, right? It was a no. Something in me was like, Shelley is going to work with me. And it wasn't that I was trying to convince you. I just felt it at a soul level that we were going to work together. And I sent you back this message, a long message, just from the heart, sharing my experience. And I said, let me know if you want to chat tomorrow. And then do you remember what happened on the Friday morning? You woke up.
Yeah, I woke up and I just knew, and I was so emotional. And I think the words were, you are an absolute fool if you don't take advantage of this. Do you remember?
Yeah, no, you said something to me like I felt like I was grieving because I'd said no to it.
That's right, I was. I felt
like I was grieving, and we had a call. And we just chatted for an hour. Yeah. And then at the end, I'm like, so, you know, do you want to do this or not? And you were like, yes. Once I'd said no, I felt like I was grieving, and then I knew I had to do it. And it was just so interesting that there was such that connection. Like, I honestly, even when you said no to me, like, I don't feel that with everyone, but when you said no to me, I was like, I know she's going to say yes. Like, I just felt like we were going to work together.
Yeah, and I'd have to say,
energetically connected, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree. And when you'd messaged that Thursday night, I think your message was a catalyst to that as well, because it's not like you were, like, there was no disappointment in your message. All you did was just give me love. And then when I woke up the next morning, I thought, oh my gosh, if I don't take advantage of this, like, I could feel it. You're right, I was grieving. And I do remember using those words. I'm like, that's it, I'm just stepping out. And I had a plan, and that even someone was going to help me, like, finance it. And then in the end I said, no one's going to touch this. This is my process. This is my journey. And then I made every effort to get the finances I needed to do it.
Yeah. And now 2 clients in like 3 days.
Yeah.
And
and that was my goal. Remember, that was our goal.
Yeah.
Or not my goal that we were doing tapping for, that I'd have 2 clients by the end of the month.
You still got a week left.
Yeah, bring it on.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and
no worries.
Your beautiful, kind words. I just, it's, I talk to a lot of women, and often, they don't get a chance to hear from people I work with about what the experience is like. And Shelley and I just finished up on Friday. It was really interesting, actually, and this is the thing, it's intuitive guidance, right? Like, we just finished up on Friday, and Shelley had said, I'll write a testimonial for you. And I don't know, and then just at the end of the call, like I said, we were talking about having a little weekend away somewhere. And Shelley said, well, I have to say, I'm afraid of flying.
Absolutely.
And we could have cleared that up during our time together. We could have used some timeline therapy and rewired that. And then afterwards, I thought, I just had this intuition. I said, I'm going to ask Shelley to do an interview with me, and I'm going to give her another session to clear her fear of flying. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that we can go on some fabulous retreat somewhere.
Yeah, go to Bali, New Zealand.
When we're allowed to, yeah.
Yeah, true. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Not
Thank
a problem at all.
A couple of comments, so I'll reply if there's any questions. Sorry, because we're on Zoom, I can't manage 2 things. So
no, that's fine.
Thank you so much.
All right, no worries. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.